This morning, we are going to get right into it. Yesterday, down 15, the Heat came back, but that wasn't the best thing of the day. The best thing for me personally and my son, Andrew Dakich, was Duncan Robinson. But after the game, Erik Spoelstra just shut down the idiot that is Ramona Shelburne. I am so tired of people that have never coached, never played, sitting there in their crumb-stained shirts, and they are just giving you the narrative to the coach who's coaching. I had to do it. Let's listen to this exchange post-game by the greatest coach in the history of the world, Erik Spoelstra. Give it to me, baby.
Final question on the left.
Hey, Coach. Ramona Shelburne, ESPN. This is probably oversimplifying things, but sometimes when teams play against Jokic, you turn him into a scorer, you turn him into a passer, and he controls the game. He only had 4 assists tonight.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. You know, it's just, that's the untrained eye that says something like that. This guy's an incredible player. You know, twice in 2 seasons he's been the best player on this planet. You can't just say, oh, make him a scorer. That's not how they play. They have so many different actions that just get you compromised. We have to focus on what we do. You know, we try to do things the hard way, and he requires you to do many things the hard way. And he has our full respect. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Coach.
God dang. I mean, you just can't get out of there quick enough. You sit out there and you look at these slobs, I mean, absolute slobs that try to act. They don't respect their jobs. They sit there. Think Greg Doyle in his affliction shirt trying to be a badass. Ramona Shelburne's out there. Well, you know, you try to. She heard somebody say that sometime. And it's always the dumbest thing ever. And good for Spoelstra, because in this new media, guys aren't taking it anymore. You're not just sitting there listening to some slob who gets to go on ESPN and say his or her opinion about things he or she knows absolutely nothing about. They didn't make anything. They made it hard for Jokic to make baskets. They made it hard for him to get an assist, and while doing that, the dude still got 41 points. He had 4 passes where the ball went in and out of the basket to teammates. That's 7 assists. What's this idiot gonna say? I mean, the level of stupid from people on your television, particularly people on your television at ESPN that are diversity hires, make you nuts as a coach. I'm just telling you. I don't care because I don't watch. I got Carton on. But I got to tell you, these diversity hires, when they're on and they have no background. There's some lady on ESPN, McNutt, who's like a third-team all-Big East player breaking down the NBA. And coaches, I'm going into my coach mode here, just sit there and go, this is so stupid. This is the greatest player on the planet. You don't make him anything. You try to make it hard. You don't go in there and say, well, we're going to give him 40. We don't want him getting assists. No, it's stupid. And all of the little boys and girls at ESPN will come to her defense. Remember Maria Taylor, our friend Danny Mack, said something about what she wears, and she got all sad. So Jalen Rose and all the others gave her flowers because she's sad. Oh, is Ramona sad now? She's an idiot. She got exposed. I hope in this new media, more and more coaches and players expose these idiots, these crumb-stained fools. I remember sitting out there, Bob Kravitz, who doesn't know his ass from third base, after we lost to Minnesota, said something so incredibly stupid, I just looked at him. I just whatever, man. Whatever. All right, now, Mike Malone, the coach of the Denver Nuggets, did something you never see, ever. You don't ever see this anymore in NBA, NFL, college, or professional anything. Mike Malone actually called out his team. What? This is not supposed to happen. But let's listen to Coach Malone of the Denver Nuggets. What?
Let's talk about effort. I mean, this is the NBA Finals, and we're talking about effort. That's a huge concern of mine. You know, and you guys thought I was just making up some storyline after game 1 when I said we didn't play well. We didn't play well. And tonight, you know, that the starting lineup to start the game was 10-2 Miami. Start the third quarter, they scored 11 points in 2 minutes and 10 seconds. And we just got, you know, we had guys out there that were just, whether feeling sorry for themselves for not making shots, or thinking they can just turn it on or off. This is not the preseason. It's not the regular season. It's not round. This is the NBA Finals. And that to me is really, really perplexing, disappointing. And I asked the team, I asked our players, you guys tell me why we lost. And they knew the answer. Miami came in here and outworked us. And we were by far our least disciplined game of these 16 or 17 playoff games, whatever it is now. So many breakdowns. And they exploited every one of those breakdowns and scored. So if we're going to try to go down there and regain control of this series and get home court advantage back, we're going to have to outwork Miami, which we didn't do tonight, and our discipline's going to have to be off the charts.
Here's to you, Mike Malone. Here's to you, baby. Finally, somebody, somewhere, somehow in the world of coaching stands up to players. Hey, we didn't give effort in the NBA Finals? Look, I don't care whether you're a basketball fan or an NBA fan. You want your coach to do this. You want your coach to say what you are thinking. Man, I'm watching that game, and they're getting their brains beat out from the start, and I'm going, what are you doing? It's the NBA Finals. And then they come back, all right, you knew they were going to come back, okay, and take a 15-point lead, and then they say to hell with it. We're good. And then Duncan Robinson and Gabe Vincent happened. This was awesome last night. It really was, but the game was one thing. But the post game is better. This is absolutely better. I thought it was great. I'm glad for Malone. I was awesome by Spoelstra. Here's Gabe Vincent talking about his teammates giving him confidence, which is why the Heat are pretty good.
I mean, it definitely wasn't easy. The staff was great working with me, whether it was film or getting in the gym. And my teammates have been phenomenal, coaching me up, telling me to be more aggressive when I'm questioning it or trying to think, should I pass first? And, our stars, Jimmy, Kyle, Bam, they've just been in my ear and telling me just to play basketball. They trust my IQ of the game and want me just to go out there and play hard.
Yeah, I mean, look, and then here comes Duncan Robinson, 10 points early in the fourth quarter, and he's just whapping them. And here's the thing, all right, I'm going to go to this, and I'm going to move on to Caitlin Clark, who I absolutely love. And then I'm going to move on to JEMELE here, who I absolutely can't stand. And then, of course, we've got Michelle Tafoya and Chad Withrow. It's going to be an amazing show, but you got to stay here because we're on one today, and we ain't stopping for 2 hours. Look, here's the deal. All of a sudden, Mike Malone is talking about a lack of discipline. In the first game, he talked about how his team didn't play well. I'll give you an example. This kid got wide open looks, both of these kids. Robinson went to the rim and scored. And, of course, the white boy code words were out, which is ridiculous and should be called out by a very racist NBA media. But the truth of the matter is when you leave Gabe Vincent or you leave Duncan Robinson, that is a lack of discipline. There is nothing about, oh, my bad, coach. No, there is no my bad in defensive basketball. There is only you did or you didn't. You don't lift up and jump past Robinson on a shot fake, leaving him wide open. But credit Duncan Robinson and credit Gabe Vincent. Both were freaking awesome. I couldn't be happier for Duncan Robinson. As I've told you, he and my son are best of friends. Great dude, big contract, lives up to it in the biggest of moment. Good for him. And Gabe Vincent, same thing. I like Gabe Vincent. Again, back to my son. His girlfriend played soccer at Cal Santa Barbara. Gabe Vincent was at Cal Santa Barbara, and by all accounts, according to her, she didn't know him well. Gabe Vincent was a ridiculously good dude, so I am all in on both of those. All right, so now in college women's basketball, how do you make money? My wife predicted it. She said, well, it's not going to be the quarterback making money. They'll make money, Alabama, Ohio State, that kind of thing. It's going to be the little girl that takes her clothes off. So we got the Cavender twins who predictably decided it is better for us to go take our clothes off, wear bikinis, pose like we're something. And then, of course, you got to hear about the other day how they went through all these terrible struggles with eating disorders and whatever. It's a cliche by now, is it not? Little girl plays basketball, takes her clothes off, makes money. All right, Angel Reese. Girl plays basketball, great player, takes her clothes off, tries to be a gangster to make some money. My wife predicted this a long time ago. She said this is exactly what is going to happen. It is not going to be the football player, the basketball player. It's going to be the little hot girl that Lee Ross knows women. Lee Ross knows women's sports. So, Caitlin Clark, how does she factor into this? Indiana people got mad because she went like this. Shut up. Indiana people, get over yourself. Caitlin Clark is awesome. So, Caitlin Clark, the other day, the star of Iowa, she is supposed to throw out the first pitch. All right. She's supposed to throw out the first pitch. Iowa Cubs is a big deal. It's the AAA farm team of the Chicago Cubs. It's a really big deal in Iowa. So Caitlin Clark, with her clothes fully on, I don't begrudge girls taking their clothes off. Just don't bitch when little boys watch them. I mean, you guys all get mad. A little girl takes her clothes off, and you guys complain because pervy guy, or you call him pervy, or whomever, looks at him. Okay, well, don't take your damn clothes off if you don't want to be looked at. I'm just saying, get mad at me all you would like about that one. But having said that, so Caitlin Clark, well, here's the deal. 11 hours, some people lined up. I was nuts on the sports, and particularly the women's sports. Insanely long line. It started 11 hours before she was supposed to be there. So what does Caitlin Clark do? She stays and makes sure everyone is greeted and signs everything. Let's go to the video of Caitlin Clark, can we? It's freaking awesome.
Slow down a little bit.
Look at this line. Look at this freaking line for Caitlin Clark. Look at the Iowa. Good for the Iowa people, man.
This is the line?
Look at this line.
Goes all the way back there. What time did you guys get here?
About half hour ago.
Okay, what about you guys? What time did you get here?
I just got here.
Okay, 6 a.m. The first people got here at 6. How many people
awesome.
here, Josh?
Good amount.
I'd say
I was here at
so.
6
How about that?
There were people in line?
Oh, yeah.
How many people were in line at 6 a.m.?
Oh, I think there was a group of 5 of them to start.
Oh my gosh. And it's still back there. Go Rangers! I like that. Wow.
Look at that line to see Caitlin Clark. Is that freaking
it's
great
still
or
going.
what?
Look at all
Don't
this.
at me about women's sports. I love women's sports. We'll throw hands. We'll throw hands if you're going to at me about women's sports. Women's sports is awesome. The people of Iowa, look at that. Difference between yesterday's Cubs game when Caitlin Clark was in the house and today's, each about an hour before the first pitch. Yeah, I'm just telling you, man. I love the fact that Caitlin Clark gets out there, balls so hard, and has handled success. She didn't become a wannabe gangster. She didn't appear in videos where they made fun of 9/11. She didn't take her clothes off and then play victim. She didn't do any of that. Didn't do any of that. Just simply showed up at a game, and then every single person, according to every report that hung out with Caitlin, or that was there, Caitlin Clark greeted, made sure they had a good time. That, my friends, is what college sports is supposed to be. Not little girls taking their clothes off, or not some dudes doing TikTok videos and putting on headbands for the NCAA tournament for his brand. No, my ass. It is that right there. I always walked out the door where the fans were at Indiana. There was another door. There was a back door. You can get out and around and up an elevator and out. Never one time did I do it because I was a kid one time. And as a kid, I wanted Jim Hickman or Billy Williams or Fergie Jenkins or whoever's autograph. I kept an autograph book. Ron Santo. I got to tell you, good for Caitlin Clark. Doesn't make the others bad. It's just the world we're living in. Take off your clothes, show your ass, wear a bikini, get yourself in some lingerie as a 20-year-old, get a bunch of fans, and next thing you know, there'll be articles and you'll make some money. That's great. Good for you. Act like a gangster. Try to be a gangster. Put yourself a bikini on and go make some money. Good for you. Get in a video. Be so stupid, the LSU girl, that you don't know that referencing 9/11 and bombings in a weird I don't even know what way isn't a good thing. You're so stupid, but somehow you got into LSU, I don't know. And then you got to take it down. And here we have a young lady that just did what she needs to do. So it is freaking awesome. You can get mad at me, glad at me, angry or sad at me, but that's just the way the world is. You remember JEMELE Hill? Do you remember her from SC6? She and Michael Smith were going to be cool kids on the block. Yeah, they were. Well, she has failed at everything she does because she is angry. She is awful. She is horrendous. She is nothing more than a race baiter trying to capitalize on cap. See what I did there? Do you see what I did there? Capitalize on cap. So she has tried to, in my opinion, hold up Spotify for $100 million. Hey, why don't you give a black host $100 million? Well, because there's nobody that interesting, because you compare him to Joe Rogan, who's the only other guy that got $100 million. If anybody's getting $100 million around here, it should be me. But that's all right. I'm already locked up. You know what I'm saying. But anyway, so this idiot tries to hold her up. It reminds me of a year ago. I made an offer to Indy Star. Hey, look, you can prove I called a kid a meth head, which I never did. Good. Well, they found some kid who goes to Indiana Wesleyan, whose daddy was a superintendent, to say that he was a pain in the ass in high school, and people thought he was the meth head. Well, I got to tell you, I grew up in the murder capital of the world. When I was in high school, if somebody said, hey, there was a murder on Andrean's high school team, not one person would have suspected me. So Dana Bembau got a kid to say, hey, look, I was a pain in the ass in high school. People actually thought I was a meth head. Well, if you never give anybody a reason to suspect anything, then nobody would think you're a meth head. So they tried to stick me, as my friend Nigel said, they tried to hold me up for $5,000. They weren't getting $5,000 out of me because they're all full of crap. Same thing here. $100 million, a little more than $5,000. They're not going to get $100 million out of JEMELE Hill because she's full of crap. She's not that interesting. Her book didn't sell. Her shows don't go. She is and was awful. And if that's some kind of ist, I would say the same thing about her if she was a white person being racist like she is. She is awful. She is ridiculous. She and Bomani Jones need to start a podcast, and nobody would watch. We'll call it Nobody's Watching. That's what they should do. Just start that. So she's trying to get $100 million, and I'm sitting there going, why would you give her $100 million? Her books don't sell. She's below like us in terms of podcasts. I don't know. Give me $100 million. All right, let's get into some other stuff. Elon Musk, the most dangerous man in America. Do you know why Elon Musk is the most dangerous man in America? I will tell you why Elon Musk is the most dangerous man in America. Because Elon Musk has FU times 1,000 money. FU times a bazillion. Like, he got FU money today, tomorrow, and the next day. He can basically control speech if he wants, because Twitter kind of has become the modern speech. But Elon Musk says transgender care for minors is pure evil. Pure evil, ladies and gentlemen, and he ain't wrong. Hey, I don't know about the care part, but I know about this. I know if you're going to tell me that it's okay to mutilate children. Children can't smoke, drink, but Elon Musk says it's pure evil. Now, you can come at Elon Musk any 10 different ways you want to. Come on, baby. Bring it, bring it, bring it, bring it, and bring it even more. But the truth of the matter is, what difference will it make? Zero. You can go Obick, you can go Ish, you can go on anything you want on Elon Musk. He's the most dangerous man in America. The most dangerous man, period. Because he does not care, he has FU money, and he is incredibly, incredibly honest. If society agrees kids aren't mature enough for things like cigarettes and drugs and alcohol and porn and tattoos and guns and sex, then they definitely aren't mature enough to body mutilation, experimental transition drugs. How is this even controversial? Explain it to me. I'll hang up and listen. It's not controversial. It's pure evil, and anybody that subscribes to this needs to get their ass in jail. They are a pedophile, harmful to kids, whatever. Don't even at me about it. Don't at me about it, because I always say this. I said this to my son the other day about something. You're not changing my mind, and I ain't changing your mind. How about we do that? It is insane. Joe Biden criticizes states protecting children from mutilation. Listen to this. In LGBTQIAAP2S plus Pride Month. Yeah, my ass. I'll show you. And I didn't send it to the fellas, but Indiana University baseball yesterday wore their shirts with Indiana, and it had the flag in the middle of it. That's pride. I'm calling for Family Pride Month starting right now. They're doing it in Italy. They're doing it in Italy. They got Family Pride Month in Italy. How about we have Family Pride Month? How about that? How about we have Family Pride Month and we quit all this crap? You got to have sex with your partner, whoever your partner is, God bless you. You got pride in yourself, God bless you. God bless you. But keep kids out of it, and let's get the nuclear family back in business. Back in business. Chuck Todd is leaving Meet the Press. I got to tell you, Kirsten Walker is replacing him. All right, here's the deal. I don't care who or what Chuck Todd is. I don't care who Kirsten Walker is. Here's what I care about, and I think you do too. I just want somebody on there that's unbiased. That's it. Is that too much to ask? I just want somebody on my television that is unbiased. I just want them to say, hey, look, I don't want to spin it. I don't want to Ramona Shelburne it. I just want somebody unbiased. Why is that so hard? Can somebody explain it to me? Why is that so freaking hard? All right, here's a little video of Chuck Todd.
Nearly 10,000 people died in the month of June. They were needless deaths. Please get vaccinated. If you know someone who's not vaccinated, find a way to convince them to get vaccinated. Literally, the only people dying are the unvaccinated. And for those of you spreading misinformation, shame on you. Shame on you. People are needlessly dying because of your misinformation. Think about it. I don't know how some of you sleep at night who are doing this for a living.
Yeah, well, you turned out to be dead wrong, Chuck Todd. You did what everybody else did. You sold an agenda. Look, I'm glad I got vaccinated. Maybe you are, maybe you aren't. I don't know. But the idea that only people that are dying are the unvaccinated was stupid then. It's dumber now. Get this idiot. And then yeah, okay, me too. Yeah, I'm something. No, get the hell out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here with that nonsense. Get out of here. I don't want to hear it. It's awful. It's ridiculous. Chuck Todd, farewell. I'm guessing the next person in your seat's going to be the same kind of dumbass. The New York Times, ladies and gentlemen. Look, you know my stance on this. I'm looking you right in the eye. You know my stance on this. President, and this goes back to the 70s, and I don't give a damn, you blue-haired fatties out there that are mad at me for saying this, because you always get mad at me on Twitter when I say this. I want a president. I don't want to hear the word inflation. I'm going back to Jimmy Carter when I was a kid. I want gas prices down. I want the stock market up. Now, there are some additional things here. The border is so ridiculous, I don't know what to tell you. Back in the day, we had presidents, both Democratic and Republican, that said, hey, look, ladies and gentlemen, here's the deal. We got to close the border. But now we have an idiot in there that doesn't understand that. But that's the way the world works. Rent prices outpacing incomes, groceries expensive, major companies laying off workers, blah, blah, blah. And the New York Times, ladies and gentlemen, the New York Times says that, well, it's not because of inflation. Really? What's it because of? What's it because of? Look, I don't mind, and again, I'll fight against this. People say, well, if a Democratic president had done those three things, would you support him? My answer is always, hell, yes. 1,010%. I am married to no party. I don't care about any party or any family or any of it. I want gas prices down. Now, I want grocery prices down. That's inflation to me. Both of those are. I don't want us in wars. Trump had us in no wars. I mean, not even a little bit. Do I want to see the stock market going down under this idiot? Although it's come back some, I'll be fair. The border needs shut because I guarantee you it started. You saw it over the weekend. More illegal immigrants are committing crimes. It ain't slowing down. Common sense tells you, you let a bunch of criminals in through the southern border, they're going to filter into our community, your community, northern communities, southern communities, western, eastern, and you're going to have a problem. Now, I'm just saying. That's all I'm saying. You know, you guys can get mad about all that. I don't understand how you do. But, hey, if you do. All right, I got to go to Greg Hardy. Remember Greg Hardy, the football player? Remember Greg Hardy, the guy who, like, threw his girlfriend or wife on a big bag of guns? Like, Greg Hardy was a really good football player, but he's insane. He's a big, strong dude. I think he was an all-pro, but he decides that beating women is his thing, and then I'm going to throw him onto my guns because, well, that's the kind of chicken blank coward that he is. So Greg Hardy has taken to football, to boxing. Greg Hardy, it did not go well for this wife-abusing piece of filth. Let's take a look at Greg Hardy getting his ass beat.
Locked at 151 apiece.
Good shot. Greg Hardy's on the right.
Greg
Say goodnight.
On a left hook
Say
by
goodnight,
Alexander Flores.
You could see Flores getting some good timing going this round, or even earlier in the round. Holding his ground a little bit better, and it makes it pay, makes it count.
How significant is that? You're tied, and now it is a 2-point swing for LA Tengus.
And that is a huge swing because Hardy's one of the guys that's been automatic for Dallas. And now you just won a 2-point round against him. Well, let's see if Hardy gets it back. There's still a minute left.
Well, Hardy, they're both just swinging, going toe-to-toe. The fistic fireworks are being thrown in abundance. A left hook by Flores as Hardy goes backwards. Oh, down goes Hardy. This one's over. A
was impressive.
Oh my goodness! Alexander.
To quote on our YouTube chat, the No Fun League Sports Channel, Greg Hardy, you got knocked out. Good, you wife-beating piece of... Anyway, he gone. This is awesome. Seriously. Like, I understand, I guess, maybe. I've never been porn guy, but I don't know. I mean, apparently a lot of dudes are. But listen to this, a woman married a virtual husband. Hey, Jennifer, don't marry a virtual husband. Hey, guys out there, don't marry a virtual wife. But a woman decided she is going to marry a virtual husband. Virtual. Like, I don't know what to tell you, but I want the real thing. I don't want a magazine. I don't want a movie. I don't want a virtual. I don't want a hologram. Ladies and gentlemen, I want the real thing, if you know what I mean, if I'm a husband or a wife, or I'm going to spend some time. We got a little video of this. Here's a little virtual husbandry. Maybe not. Maybe we don't. Maybe we do, but maybe we don't. She marries an AI husband, and apparently it is not loaded. Look, J.J. Watt is not having it anymore. And by the way, coming up, Michelle Tafoya, Chad Withrow. We got a lot to talk about. Chad Withrow coming up here in a minute. Did you know, and we're going to have Urban on, I think, at some point again here soon to talk about the documentary. There you go. There you go. Not sure where the world is going, but a woman marries a virtual husband, Aaron, who is powered by AI. After all, marriages are made in heaven, and love knows no boundaries, so they are living happily ever after. We got some weird mother in this world, do we not? I mean, we got some weird mother in this world. Hey, J.J. Watt not happy. J.J. Watt, and this is happening in Indianapolis, so all of you folks here in Indianapolis, he's like, look, why are we judging? Why are we judging every throw, run, block, tackle by rookies? Why are we judging this? Why don't we let these guys develop? And I got to tell you, he ain't wrong. In Indianapolis here, we're judging, some people are, they're judging the fact that Anthony Richardson skipped to the field in his first practice in youthful exuberance. See, I ain't mad at it. Now, the only thing I've ever skipped is classes, and it cost me $1,500 from Coach Knight. That is a different story. But I got to tell you, so Anthony Richardson's out there skipping. J.J. Watt's not wrong. We evaluate every throw. We got all these slappies that go, hey, guess what? We have a rookie quarterback, but he skipped. He skipped out the practice. And according to J.J. Watt, we are seizing on them. We're inking on them before they even have a time. Yeah. All right. He's not wrong. He's exactly right. A plea to the athletic. A plea. You no longer in Indianapolis have this goof, this little milquetoast guy, Zach Kiefer. You got your diversity hire in whatever James's name. You got your old curmudgeon D-bag in Kravitz. Hire somebody with some stones to cover the Colts, please. Look at that body on Anthony Richardson. He reminds me, I don't know, a little of myself. So let's go, Athletic. You got your diversity hire. You got your old curmudgeon hire. You need a white guy, I guess. I don't care if he's white, black, Asian, whatever. Serbian. Make him Serbian. Somebody with some stones covering the Colts. Somebody with some ass. Somebody with some gravitas. Somebody with some sack covering the Colts. I don't need milquetoast Zachy, the National Honor Society president. I don't need anything about him. I don't need him. Don't need him. Don't want him. Don't need him. I need some ass covering the Colts. We're going to be right back. Chad Withrow, not an ass, when we come right back. Also, Michelle Tafoya. I cannot wait to talk to Michelle Tafoya about a number of things, the NFL and other stuff. It's going to be awesome. Go tell your friends. We got over 600, whatever it is, people on YouTube. Go tell your friends right now and get on Twitter.
Daniel Penny, the former Marine who stepped in to restrain the violent vagrant Jordan Neely, is now looking down the barrel of 15 years behind bars for manslaughter. He was arraigned last week, put in cuffs, and made to do a humiliating perp walk, though he turned himself in, though he's been cooperated through the whole process, though what he did was in the defense of others. But Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg doesn't care. He's not a guardian of the law. He's an activist installed in his position by George Soros. Nothing more, nothing less. He doesn't make moves based on law. He makes moves based on the mob, and once again, the mob wins. And Jordan Neely's family, well, they hope to turn his death into dollar signs. Jordan Neely was a vagrant living on the streets. Where was his family then? Now they care? Convenient, that's real convenient. Neely has been struggling for years, has been mentally ill for years, and violent for years, and this time, it caught up to him. Did he deserve to die? No. But are subway passengers and good and decent people supposed to give a mentally ill man spouting death threats the benefit of the doubt? Should Daniel Penny have sat his happy ass down and waited for Neely to punch an elderly woman again or kidnap a child again? If Bragg did his job, New York City residents wouldn't be put in this situation in the first place. But Bragg is sending a message loud and clear. Do not mess with his mayhem. Do not question the lawless hellhole he's created. Do not be bold and do not be brave. Let it happen. Let the country go to hell and let innocent people pay the price. These liberals want men to devolve into purse-holding cowards. They want you all emasculated and neutered because real men are the last remaining barrier these communists must eliminate in their quest to destroy everything around us. Well, Daniel Penny did something. He stood up, he acted. So I stand with Daniel Penny and every other man who has the fortitude and the character to protect and defend the vulnerable. In a world full of cowards, be a Daniel Penny.
The great Chad Withrow, you hear him, you know him, you love him. It is Hot Mike going on. Hey, in the afternoons, Eastern time, 3 to 6, 2 to 5 Central time, live from 6th and Peabody. All right, couple of things that I've been talking about today. One, I don't know if you saw Spoelstra just shut down Ramona Shelburne. You know how I dislike the media, but I'm telling you, as a coach, he could not be more right. And then Mike Malone went off on his own team. Coaches don't do that anymore, big boy.
I loved it, Dan. I love the Malone part of it even more. I was reading through those quotes and was shocked to see a coach in the NBA Finals in a game 2 just basically call his defense soft. I mean, we're not talking about a game in November or December to kickstart your team. This is game 2 of the NBA Finals. The Western Conference champions, a team that had not lost a home playoff game to that point, and Michael Malone is going all in on his team. I love that. One other story I love from a coach relationship with a player standpoint this weekend was my Atlanta Braves. Brian Snitker sits Marcell Ozuna after he tries to watch what wasn't a home run, and he hits the longest single in baseball history, and he pulled his ass. I loved it. It was shades of Bobby Cox back in the day benching Andrew Jones for loafing for a fly ball in the middle of an inning. You don't see that as much. I think it takes a special type of personality. You brought up 2 guys there. Eric Spoelstra, one of the few NBA head coaches that does have control of his locker room, that does have say, that won't get fired because some star player's unhappy with him. So he's got the power to do that. And I think with Malone, that's just his personality. I don't think he's got the type of power that Spoelstra does, or he clearly hasn't been there as long and had as much success yet. But Jokic isn't the type to do this. But if the star player, let's say Nikola Jokic, decided, hey, I don't like this coach anymore, he would be gone. Spoelstra's not that way. I think he's protected in Miami. But the good news for Malone is that Jokic isn't that type of guy and would never try to pull that move. But you know this, Dan. Players run the NBA, so coaches oftentimes are afraid to offend the players. And when that happens, you get coaches that don't always say what they mean and mean what they say. With Spoelstra and Malone, we got two guys who say what they mean and mean what they say.
Absolutely right. And, the players respect it. Players are always going to complain about individual stuff, and that's fine. We know that. But I love the fact that Mike Malone said after game one, we're not playing very well. And, in fact, I watched him, and I thought the same thing. As bad as the Heat were playing, the Nuggets should have had that game out to 20. They weren't playing well, and now it came back to bite them. Nobody believed Malone, including the players, and they got their ass beat.
They did, and your guy, Duncan Robinson, was a big part of that. I thought that 8-point spurt to start the fourth quarter when it was an 11-point game, I think, 10-point game at the end of the third, and they cut it to 2 so quickly, that completely turned the game around. This Heat, both these teams, look, it's not the sexiest of matchups, right? It's not Celtics-Lakers. But when it's Nuggets-Heat, with the makeup of these rosters, it's a lot of fun. There's not a lot to not like about either one of these coaches or either one of these teams. I don't see any real villain in this series. That doesn't make for the best drama in sports when you don't have, America pulling for one side or the other and one side that's more hated or one side that wins all the time. When you don't have that storyline, it doesn't always make for the best TV ratings. But what we have in this series are two great basketball teams that seem to get along with each other, that know their roles from the head coach on down on the roster. They're two rosters that have been beautifully constructed by their front offices, and it's a lot of fun to watch these teams go at it. And the first chess move went in favor of the Heat. The way they defended Jokic in game one by swarming to him did not work because he picked them apart and Aaron Gordon killed them. So in game two, they took their chances by letting him go for more than 40 points, and the Heat won. I think we'll probably see that same approach in game three. So now what's the counter chess move from Michael Malone and the Nuggets? That's the question going into game three. But I'm loving this series so far. Two teams that's not always going to get the biggest headlines, but two teams that I think are the most fun to watch right now are going head to head.
If I am watch for this to happen, I don't think this is necessarily a strong suit. But I tell you what, you got to put a guy in the left corner against this zone against Duncan Robinson. Duncan Robinson doesn't have to play anybody. They need to overload the left side and make Duncan Robinson play two people while having somebody in the middle. I'll get into that as we get closer to the series, but it's just driving me bat blank crazy. All right, my boy Urban Meyer and his crew. This documentary on Netflix is coming out now. Urban was paid. Urban and Tebow were both paid, but that Urban said, wait a second, no. So I don't know what ended up happening here. I don't know whether or not they decided to give money back or spread the money out. I don't know. But I'm fascinated by this because when you go down the list of players that are going to be in this documentary, it's unbelievable the different personalities, both good and bad here.
Yeah, so this Untold series on Netflix, I'm a big fan of what I've seen so far. I watched the Manti Te'o doc about the fake girlfriend, Lene Kukua. I watched their one on Malice in the Palace, which I thought was terrific. That's my favorite one so far, where they're interviewing Ron Artest and a lot of people involved in that night. Reggie Miller was a part of it in the Malice in the Palace. So this is, I would caution, I've been hearing from some Florida fans that are sending me, texts like, hey, this is great. Look at this great era of Florida football they're going to be highlighting. And I'm thinking, I wouldn't be getting too excited about it because I don't think this is going to be overly reverential of those Florida teams because it's going to highlight a lot of the bad also with those teams. Look, there were a lot of good. There were 2 national championships during that time. It is the most successful stretch of Florida football in history under Urban Meyer. They also have 2 murderers on that team, and Aaron Hernandez and Tony Joyner. They had one of the just most prolific streaks of arrests in the history of college football during that stretch of good football as well. There were a lot of issues with that team. Now, what I find fascinating about those Florida teams, Dan, and I've long said this, I believe that Tim Tebow is as legitimately genuine of a guy as there is. He is exactly what he professes to be with his faith. There are a lot of false prophets out there. Tim Tebow's not one of them. He is a true Christian. He believes what he says. He lives the life that he talks about. I truly believe that about Tim Tebow, and I respect him for that. People knew that about Tim Tebow at Florida. They also knew he's a great football player. Tim Tebow, though, masked a lot of the other issues on that roster. And I think the players that played on that team knew that and probably got a little loosey-goosey with their behavior because everyone saw that Florida team as Tim Tebow's team. And I think it was, but what you didn't see oftentimes was Tim Tebow masked a lot of issues off the field with that Florida team. Now, Urban Meyer got them to play well together on the field and got them to play as a unit, and they were very talented and won 2 national titles, but there were a ton of issues also. I think this documentary will get into both, and I hope it does. I don't want it to be a slam piece on Florida football. I also don't want it to be something that churches up everything going on, right? I want to get both good and bad with those Florida teams because it is a fascinating study to me of a team led by Tim Tebow, who is this all-time celebrity in the history of college football, Urban Meyer, multiple national championship winning head coach, but you also have this mix of personalities that it's hard to see how they would all get along together, but yet it worked for those Gators teams. So I'll definitely be checking this one out.
I was just texting Urban while we were talking just now, and I said, "Are you cool with this documentary?" And he's like, "Yeah." He goes, "I think it's going to be really good. It's not going to be a hit piece." Just literally 2 seconds ago, I was just texting him about it. You know, one of the things that I find fascinating from a purely coaching standpoint, Urban has told me this, and I think it's well documented outside, is that the practices were unbelievable because you had so much depth, you had so much talent, you had so much fighting for playing time. And I go back a long time, hell, before most people were born that are watching this, 1981. When I arrived at Indiana after an 81 national championship, the white team, which is the second team at Indiana, the red team is the first team, was given an award by Isaiah Thomas and those guys that basically said, "Thank you for winning us a national championship. You were the toughest team we played all tournament," meaning their own team. That's going to be one of the fascinating things here is how they, meaning Florida, competed against each other. You know what I mean? That's some good I was going to swear there. That's some good stuff.
I love that. And I love the Isaiah Thomas story you just told about that as well, because anyone who's ever been on a team, and look, I didn't play major college sports. I played high school baseball and high school basketball. But I know from our high school basketball team that when your B team, your practice squad team is better, you're going to be better in games, right? And that goes up through every level. Dan, you were playing at the highest level of college basketball. You saw that at Indiana. Florida and Urban Meyer, they're playing at the highest level of college football in the SEC. They saw that as well. I've read stories about Pete Carroll at USC. I think it was called All Out Wednesday they would have. They were so deep and talented with that national championship team. They would go full contact, full pads, practice, scrimmage on Wednesdays because he knew they were so good, even if they lost a couple guys, they were going to be fine. And that just upped the competition level for that team even more because they were so deep and so talented. It is a luxury to have that, and especially in football where you're more concerned about losing bodies if you go all out and practice that hard. And I don't think we're going to see that again. I think that 2006 to 2009 era may have been the end of that because the way coaches have to manage their roster more now. But I love hearing stories like that where guys can go at it, guys can not like each other in practice, guys can get in fights. Probably anyone watching this right now, they can go back to any time they played middle school or high school sports that they didn't like someone on the team that they went head-to-head with, and there was some scrap in practice. You're always talking trash with someone. I know I have that guy. I know everyone out there probably has that guy or girl from practice. But the fact that you can do that and have that level of competition and come back and play on Saturdays together if you're the Florida Gators, or play during the weeknight and on the weekends if you're the Indiana Hoosiers like you, Dan. I love stories like that of teams gelling over competition and competition with each other. I think that's fantastic when teams can do that. So that is going to be really cool to watch in this documentary. And again, I'm a Tennessee guy. I hated those Florida teams under Urban Meyer, but you can't help but respect them because they were so great. and they did play so hard, and they were so talented. So I'll definitely be watching.
You know, one of the things I had to do this. Bowling Green hadn't won. Jim Larinaga was there before I was there, and they tied for a conference title once. They hadn't won a title since '83, and I had a team in 2000 that I had to change. Actually, 2000. I had to change how we did things. Like shoot-arounds were boring to them, so I said, "All right, we're going to scrimmage." You know, day of the game, we're just going to scrimmage. I'm going to put about 3 minutes on my watch, and we're going to go up and down. We won 6 in a row, won the conference title, because these, you know, certain teams, you got to read certain teams. You know, you just do. You got to read. Billy Donovan had a shot clock or a playing clock in practice on his second Florida championship team. No, Joakim Noah would never practice against another guy more than 20 minutes. Horford, it was like 22 minutes. He literally didn't, you know, he couldn't get anybody hurt. So that stuff it fascinates me. But of course, people are going to, you know, they want to know what Hernandez was like, or you mentioned Joyner, or they want to know what Tebow was really like, that kind of stuff. I want to get into something J.J. Watt said, and I'm curious your reaction to this. J.J. Watt is mad because of NFL media crapping on rookies in OTAs. He's like, hey, can you just let them develop? Hey, Jonathan, I'm sorry, Chad, in our town, we're doing every single thing that Anthony Richardson is doing. You know what I'm saying? Like hey, he skipped out the practice. Some people are pissed. You know, like, what is he skipping for? J.J. Watt's not wrong.
He's not wrong, but I think there's two different sides to this part of it, Dan. There is, you talk about this with indie media with the Colts. There's the media members that have a press pass that go out there that write for a website or whatever they do, and it's, you know, Colts Express, or it's jagnation.com,
right.
or it's, you know, beardown.com, or whatever it is. And all they're out there to do is to tell the people that go to their website that are all fans of that specific team exactly what the hell they want to hear. So they're going to say, hey, the rookie looks great. I haven't seen this level of athleticism since the mid-'90s. Quarterback is completing all of his passes and OTAs without pads on. Everything is great. Everything is rosy. Everything is sunshine. They're out there to do that. I hate that. I hate that part of it. Now, the flip side of it that J.J. Watt is talking about is you do have media members that maybe their inclination is to be a little bit more cynical, or they're just telling the truth, and they get out there to OTAs and they paint this very negative picture of the first-round pick or the fourth-round pick for a team, and they're always going to lean towards the negative. I think the biggest common denominator here with media members is the lack of understanding that OTAs don't really matter. So either side of that coin, Homer media, that's going to go out and tell you that that rookie is great, nothing to worry about. They're going to be a terrific contributor for the team. They're doing that just to appease their fan base. And then the other people who are, oh my gosh, this is doom and gloom. You know, Will Levis is out here skipping rocks, or this quarterback's doing that. Anthony Richardson, you know, can't get the play call in. He doesn't look like he's meshing well with his team. It's either side of that coin. The common denominator is a lack of understanding that these are OTAs. The players don't even want to be there. They hate it. This is not even training camp. We're not even into the preseason yet, much less the season. Let's pump the brakes. Let's chill out. Let's understand what these are. I think media misses the boat many times on that in covering the NFL.
I agree. My man, I appreciate you. Thank you for the time today, my friend. Have a great rest of your day.
We'll talk to you later in the week now. Always great being on with you. Appreciate you, brother.
See you, brother. That is the great Chad Withrow. I was going to say on the hotline because for 14 years I always said on the hotline, and now I just screwed it up. I don't really know. People in the NBA. Yeah, there it is. Hot mic right there. It's really good. I listen every day. I do. If I'm outside working, I turn it on. I put it in my headphones. I do. People in the NBA, Stephen A. Smith included, are concerned that Ja Morant may not be alive in 5 years. Yeah, I don't know. Look, Ja Morant, he is going to be punished, some think very severely, as we walk down the rest of the NBA Finals. Some people are speculating it's going to be a year. Some people are speculating it's going to be, indefinite, one of those deals. Get yourself help. I don't know. I have no idea what Ja Morant is because none of us know the background. None of us know what the NBA commissioner knows. And I've always said this. There's always a backstory. You and I both know. Tell me something, I'll tell you there's a backstory. I got Skip and Shannon on right now. There's a backstory. I don't care what is reported. Skip's a bad guy. Shannon, no. None of that. That's all crap. That's all crap. There's always a backstory, and there's always more to the story. All right? Period. Don't at me about it. There always is, and we don't know what the commissioner knows. There's a tweet out here by Stephen A. Smith, or about Stephen A. Smith. Let's see if we've got that. Stephen A. Smith's comments on Ja Morant. Now, I'm not going to listen to anything Stephen A. Smith says about the actual basketball game, but I gotta believe he is somewhere in tune with NBA folks wanting to get information out in terms of behavior off the court, some of the things he finds himself engaging in with the company that he keeps, establishments he visits, obviously compelled pretty much all the time to have a gun. A lot of players I know are from the streets, and I can tell you that people within the NBA community are not concerned about Ja Morant playing basketball. They're concerned about whether he's going to be alive. The environment he finds himself around, situation he finds himself is a serious matter. Something that I think the NBA and everybody that knows anything about these kind of things that are going on with him find themselves concerned. Absolutely. Hey, man, F around and find out. You want to be a hood rat? You want to be a gangster? Find out. Serious business. I look back at some of the stupid stuff that I did going into Gary, Indiana, thinking I was something. And I'm like, man, I'm lucky I got out alive now. Had I not done that, I would have had no problem. But if you're going to carry a gun around and you're going to go into strip joints and you're going to have all this money and you're going to put yourself in a position where some dudes may not only be jealous, but be hateful, jealous, angry, and in fact just want to cause a celebrity harm, you're going to get harmed. You're going to get harmed. I mean, I'm sorry, but that's just what's going to happen. And Stephen A. Smith is not wrong here. Stephen A. Smith is absolutely right. I think a lot of us have lived things like we put ourselves in a stupid situation and you look back and you go, damn, are we lucky that something terrible did not happen? I know I have. Shoot, I have a lot. I mean, a lot. And I always thank God that nothing happened. I mean, we used to go downtown Gary and talk to the hookers. Now think about that. Here's a bunch of white kids going down across I-90, 80-94, going into the real Gary. Glen Park wasn't necessarily the real Gary. Cross 80-94 and just sitting there talking to the hookers. I knew what a half and half was a long time ago. I knew what around the world was. Are you kidding me? And I remember a cop pulling us over going, what are you doing, Dan? He knew me from basketball. He goes, get your ass across the frickin' bridge. They're shooting white people tonight. I go, what do you mean they're shooting white people tonight? They go, Dan, we already had 3 shootings, 3 white guys. So get out. This African-American cop. I think about that, how stupid I was and how thankful I was that that cop not only stopped us, recognized me, and told us, get the hell out. Honest to God. So I'm with Stephen A. Smith here. You put yourself in stupid positions, and next thing you know, boom. All right, I got to show this. A massive great white shark, you got to see this, annihilates a fisherman's tuna boat. You got to see this. We're going to need a bigger boat, people. See, here's the deal. Don't mess around in oceans. Look, Lake Michigan, you mess around, there's an undertow, it can get you. All right? Ocean's got big things that eat boats. Ocean's got big things that swallow you whole. I'm not saying don't go in, but don't challenge it. Like some kid jumped off of a cruise ship in shark-infested waters, and now what is he? He's chum. He's chum. He's just simply chum. There's nothing about him that is even recognizable. I was having a debate with a cop one time about best way to kill somebody and hide it. He's like, throw him in the ocean where there's sharks. There's nothing left. My brother thought it'd be a good idea to go to Buffalo, put him underneath the ice, body will thaw, all the evidence will be gone, and they won't find him under a huge stack of ice. I thought that was silly. But let's see this great white, or whatever the hell this thing is. Let's see these sharks in action.
Hey, let's go!
Hey, we're just going to jump in for a little swim. See, I am not that guy. The only time I ever felt comfortable snorkeling in like the Caribbean, we did it on our honeymoon, and the dude with us had a big ass knife strapped to his leg, and I go, yo, can I get one of those? And he laughed. I go, if everything's so safe like you all advertise, why you got a big ass knife strapped to your leg? He didn't have the answer. He just started laughing. He said, you make a good point. And I said, I know. I make a really good point. How come I don't have one of those? And all I kept thinking was that right there. Somehow, some way, some shark's going to come up and eat old Double D. And I got to tell you, Double D don't want to get eaten. There's one way I absolutely don't want to go, and that is fall through the ice, trapped under the ice. That is like my worst nightmare. What is your worst nightmare for death? Fire. No question about it. That's in there too. But I'm not going to lie to you. I am a child of Jaws. I read the book. I watched the movie. By the way, the book gets a little risque. I was like in sixth or seventh grade, and things were moving, if you know what I'm saying. But anyway, I respect, deep, sharp respect, the agua and what is in the agua. Steelhead ain't going to eat you in Lake Michigan. That right there, see that mouth? That mouth will get you. I had a girlfriend. Never mind. I digress. Don't want to get in trouble. All right. When we come back, Michelle Tafoya joins us. I love talking to Michelle Tafoya. Michelle Tafoya is freaking awesome. And I got a lot more today, including we're going to replay the video after Michelle of both Spoelstra just ripping some woman named, or reporter. Don't say woman. We don't even know what a woman is. We can't even define a woman. So a reporter named Ramona Shelbourne and Mike Malone ripping his own team. And I'm down with both. DONN. I am down with both. We'll be right back.
Welcome into OutKick the show. I am Clay Travis, your fearless leader. I am going to continue to argue that sports is one of the great unifying forces in all of American life. ESPN is a sinking ship. Democrats are now the party of the white, woke college graduate.
We live in a land of participation trophies.
You gotta lean into the turns. You really gotta lean into the turns.
When Leah Thomas walked in that first day, it got silent, and every girl was uncomfortable.
Very difficult to go back-to-back years in the NFL with the #1 overall pick.
I've been out of LA long enough to have forgotten that libs, no matter how ridiculous the scenario, are gonna live. Another week of inflation, another week with Biden with COVID, and another set of losers to crown. People don't watch the WNBA on TV, in person, on a plane, on a train, on a bus, or on purpose.
The scary thing, Tommy, is in the history of this government, I've never seen them give anything back that they've taken.
Oh no, they never do.
And they won't.
We've seen coaches throw water bottles. We've seen coaches act like idiots. We've seen coaches slap other coaches. But I think if you're involved in carjacking, you're inherently a rotten human being. The level of stupid that sometimes gets on our YouTube chat just gives me a headache. You're born a male, play with males. You're born a female, play with females. Don't at me about it, people.
I believe this person is the greatest player anybody alive will ever see. How can you hate Derek Jeter? A guy's on-base percentage tells me his batting eye, and a guy's slugging percentage tells me if he's a threat. That's the kind of guy that throws a no-hitter, that effectively wild guy.
The great, and I don't use that word loosely. I use it only when it fits. Michelle Tafoya joins us. I got to get right into this, okay? You covered sports for a long time. You've covered sports back when coaches would be critical of players publicly and of their own self and team. Now we don't want to do that. Mike Malone, I don't know if you saw it, but Mike Malone yesterday, after his Nuggets got beat, he wasn't afraid to rip his own team. When do you think the shift started? Like Bobby Knight, after Alford broke the all-time scoring record, Indiana's like, yeah, he broke the record, but he stunk and we almost lost, so blah, blah, blah. When did the shift, when did all that start where coaches didn't criticize players no more?
I don't know, but it's there are some schools of thought, and I think the old school is definitely the Bobby Knight school, or the who was it that said, what about your team's execution? I'm in favor of it. That kind of thing. That's kind of old school. And then there was this sort of new, kumbaya, we are the world, come into the locker room, hug everyone out, kind of sort of new wave approach. I hope we're getting back to reality. I mean, people got to say what they think. And if you want to call out a player or you want to call out your entire team, I had Greg Popovich give me just an epic quote at halftime one time during a Spurs game, and it was fabulous. And so I love that because if you don't, you just don't seem authentic at all. You seem like you're just sugarcoating stuff. You're protecting your guys, and maybe guys need protecting. I don't think they do. I don't think guys need protecting, and if they do, I don't know how really much of a killer competitive instinct they have.
I remember when I suspended a kid when I was a head coach at Bowling Green. I'm like, hey, you're not going to sit out here in pregame warm-ups and let all the fans tell you, we hope you're better. We hope you're okay, Kevin. I'm like, no, you're going to ride the freaking bike for 2 hours during the game because your ass isn't out. You know what I mean? I'm like, hey, we're not going to sit here and pat you on the backside for being a pain in the ass. I thought Mike Malone was great. I got to get into something else, too, and I don't know where you stand on this, so I'm very interested. I am on this crusade. I think that what happened last week with Sam Ponder and Nancy Moore, Nancy may be a friend of yours, was reprehensible. I don't understand. I don't understand this. I don't understand why or how, first, men, and I don't want to sound sexist here, but I believe men are here to protect. I do. I read a book, Wild at Heart. It kind of changed my life. It gives you the okay to be a hunter, to be a man, to be a real boy. I don't understand why the men of ESPN aren't helping. I don't understand protecting. And I don't understand the women-on-women crime here about transgender in women's spaces. Help me figure this out.
Well, I can't understand it either. I'm right there with you. The only thing that I think this can be attributed to is flat out fear. People are afraid of taking the attacks like Sam just took. Sam Ponder is a lovely human being, a Christian woman, by the way, who doesn't, she's not a bigot. She's not a bigot. And for Nancy Armour to call her out as a bigot because she believes that women in sports should be protected and compete only against women. That's just and I retweeted it and I told Nancy Armour, you call someone a bigot, that is just a shallow, easy, first level thinking kind of response to this. To just sit around and call people bigots because they don't agree with you about something is an easy way out. It's an argument without an argument. It is because she doesn't have another argument. So let's just call Sam Ponder a bigot. It was reprehensible. And I hope that she hears that and she understands that. And I've given my support to Sam. I've been vocal on this from the get-go. Women's sports is for women, not for trans women. It is for biological females. And there is a distinct difference. And we're going to debate about this and it's going to get stupid. It already is stupid, in my opinion. Look, I've talked to members of the LGBT community, specifically gay men, who say to me, I don't even understand why we're debating this. Like, how is this even a question? Women compete in women's sports. So I don't know why more people aren't rallying, except that they're afraid. And then they might also have to backtrack on some of the awards that the ESPYs have given out.
Right. Sam Ponder and I worked together. Tirico and I with Sam as a terrific. She was basically her first job sideline reporter for us on Tuesday night Big Ten games. And you're exactly right. Tirico and I we're vermin. We're horrible human beings when you compare us to Sam, because we would tease Sam about her boyfriend not getting her a Valentine's Day card when I got my wife, who was divorcing me, a Valentine's Day card. She was awesome. She's the best person going, and for her, because bigot's a strong word. Like, what worse can you call somebody in this world than bigot right now?
It's a horrible word. It's kind of this umbrella term for you're a racist, you're a sexist, you're a homophobe, you're a xenophobe, you're a bigot. Archie Bunker was a bigot, and he owned it. Sam Ponder's not a bigot. And because she has an opinion on this very hot topic that I would venture to guess the vast majority of people in the country share her opinion. But for Nancy Armour to just call her a bigot, it would, like I said, there's no excuse for that. I think we can say that two things can be true at the same time. You can love all human beings. You can accept other lifestyles. You can say, it's like, hey, you know what? If you want to go do steroids, go for it. You go for it. But damn it, you're not competing in sports against people who don't do steroids. How about that? I mean, you know what? I can still love you if you do steroids, but I don't think it's fair that you compete against people who don't use steroids. I love you because you're in a massive weight class, but you're not competing against my peewee son. I can still love you, but you're not competing against my son. So basically, Sam Ponder's saying, I can love all people, but that doesn't make it fair to throw them in the ring together. You don't throw a 300-pound wrestler in against a 120. You don't do it. And so for people to be in denial of what it means to be chromosomally male or female, I mean, you're a science denier right there.
I got a call after my show the other day, and I'm not going to say her name, but she's a very, 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 very well-known woman, and she was driving, and she was listening to our show here, and she goes, she told me nice things about me, and she said, do you understand the ridiculous things that come out of your mouth? I said, yeah. But I thought she was going to go negative. I thought she was going to go negative. She said, no, you have to say that a man shouldn't be in a locker room with his junk exposed with Riley Gaines before an NCAA tournament or an NCAA meet. You have to say that the NCAA is going to, in case of a tie, give it to a transgender man instead of a. Those are the idiotic things that you have to say. And you think about what we're talking about. What is a man? What is a woman? What the hell? That's so idiotic. And she was absolutely right.
So this weekend, I finally watched What is a Woman, the Matt Walsh documentary.
Oh, yeah.
I can't recommend it highly enough. Because I saw some things I didn't even know existed. Now, I wasn't surprised necessarily that they existed, but to see it like these conversations happening and listening to both sides of this and see someone who is evidently right in front of us sitting there, a female telling him, well, I'm not a woman, so I can't really answer that question. What is a woman? It's pretty astonishing. And I think it's eye-opening. And I think I can't recommend it highly enough. If you're on the fence on this or not, watch that film.
Yeah, my wife watched it yesterday. I was too busy sleeping and watching the NBA playoffs, and she said, this is mandatory. My wife doesn't make things mandatory very often, but she's like, this is mandatory. Speaking of this, Idaho student has been disciplined for saying unapproved gender comments. A boy is a boy and a girl is a girl. What are we doing?
We're changing speech. This is, I consider myself a pretty middle of the road person, Dan, and I am kind of a reasonable, sane person. But so when people started saying, there's a Marxist social culture, social movement going on in America, I was like, come on, Marxist, what are you talking about? What you need to do is learn a little bit about Marxism, and you realize that, and there are people who will come right out and tell you, I'm a Marxist. And they are trying to change the language and punishing people for saying the wrong thing. That goes against the First Amendment. Now, people will tell me, and lawyers have said, hey, respectfully, the First Amendment only applies to government not being able to punish you. Well, I mean, we have government at every level, no matter what now, right? It's politics have seeped into everything. So if you are punished in this film, What is a Woman? Matt Walsh talks to a dad in Canada who was put in jail for misgendering his daughter and fined $30,000 for misgendering his daughter who wanted to go through the sex change thing. Canada fined him. I mean, hang on a minute. Who's the parent here? The government can't tell me what I can and can call my child. This is the fact that we're giving children so much power in the world right now, especially here in America and Canada, obviously, is really telling. To suggest that kids are wiser and smarter and their brains are more advanced than the adults in the room, it's a sad statement about adults, and it's pathetic. So to suggest that kids should be making up their minds about some of these really controversial surgeries or hormone blockers, puberty blockers, etc., this just defies all imagination for me. I have 2 kids. I can't. There's just no way in hell that they would tell me what they're going to medically do to their body outside of maybe a piercing. That's as far as it's going to go. So, once they're adults, and again, to suggest that misgendering someone is somehow criminal or punishable, we are in insane times, my friend. Insane. I can't believe we're living in it. I kind of can't believe. I wake up and I kind of shake my head and go, "Is it over yet? Are we done?" Because this is crazy times.
Let me ask you: is the pendulum swinging back to sanity, or is it getting more away from us?
I think we're starting to see some. If this is a ship, it's going to take a while to turn it around, right? As the old saying goes. But I think we're starting to see some people make a turn. I think what's going on at the University of North Carolina, I believe they're dropping some of their diversity, equity, inclusion stuff. I think we're seeing now corporations say no to this ESG stuff that gets involved in corporate policy. So I'd like to think that we are starting to see a turn away from this. And again, I think the Dylan Mulvaney example is a very good one, that the consumers said, we don't want this. This is not what we want. Well, you're celebrating a woman who's not a woman. Now, it's confusing to me to have that massive reaction to Bud Light, but then you see other corporations, Target and others, follow suit. Adidas literally follow with a swimsuit. These making these decisions for Pride Month that go beyond Pride. This isn't just. Again, some of my gay friends have said to me, "I feel hijacked." LGB, right there, lesbian, gay, bisexual, and then the T comes in, and you start going down this rabbit hole of all these different identifications that people just, the mainstream gays in this country are going, count me out.
A couple years ago, it's probably been 6 or 7, to your point, Indianapolis had a gay pride parade, and there was a number of big, fat, hairy gay men riding bicycles buck naked in front of kids. Mm-hmm. And on my radio show, I called it out. I said, this is absurd. If this is pride, then pride sucks. It's the wrong kind of pride. And I went off. I went way off. And the pride organizer called my radio show and went on the air and thanked me for doing that, because she said, look, this is not what we're about. This is not who we are. This should never have been a part. We got hijacked as a parade because, this particular group of men decided they were going to do this. And to your point, it is interesting, because I don't think anybody's, you or me or bashing gay people. Hell, I got a ton of gay friends. I mean, everybody does. Nobody's bashing, just saying leave kids out of it, number one.
Yeah.
And how about a modicum of decency when you're in public relative to children and relative to anybody, relative to the public space?
This is a really interesting topic because I do know people who have no problem with their kids being exposed to this. And as they are parents, and I've got to say, that's their choice. Far be it from me to tell them how to parent their kid. Although I do think there are limits, and I do have trouble. Like if I knew someone who was going to go ahead and put a kid on puberty blockers or go in for the gender affirmation surgery, I would want to pull them aside and say, wait a minute. Can't you spend some years here doing some digging on this and what this is really all about while your child's brain is in development, and wait it out a little bit and why jump to this? Well, because the doctor said, would you rather have a living daughter or a dead son? That is such a false argument. That one really pisses me off. And I think doctors who use that are presenting a straw man argument. Like you either transition your child or they're going to commit suicide. There's no in between. How can that be? How can that really be? So I don't think we have the data to support that, Dan. So again, if parents want to expose their kids to this stuff, you see parents taking their kids to the drag time story hours or whatever, or drag performances. Again, they are the parent. I can't tell them what to do, but I think kids are growing up way too fast. And my God, it goes fast enough as it is. It goes fast enough as it is. My kid's about to graduate high school in a year. I can't even freaking believe it. It goes so fast, and there are emotional and psychological ups and downs all along the way, Dan. You know that. And so to suggest that you want to solve one with drugs right away that have lasting impacts. We're not just talking about Adderall or an antidepressant. We're talking about stuff that can really screw them up for a long time.
Michelle, I appreciate you. What you got on the podcast this week? What's going on?
Oh my gosh, we have, it's funny you should mention the whole masculinity thing. We have Josh Hawley today with his book about manhood. It's very interesting. I know some people just hated the book. Some people love the book. He talks about all of it. He also talks about the presidential election coming up. We got a bunch of stuff. But that's today, so we'll leave it there. Subscribe, folks. Subscribe. The Michelle Tafoya podcast. Subscribe.
My wife and I were in a Starbucks at Princeton University a couple weeks ago, and she looks at me. She goes, "You know what? This may sound horrible, but I really don't care." She goes, "Everybody in here, every guy in here is incredibly effeminate, and every girl in here is a cartoon character." She looked at me. She goes, "This one has purple hair, dressed as something." And I walked out. I'm like, she's right. We need men to be men, but that's a different topic for another day.
That's
and we
another
will get
topic
into that
for another day.
You and me at some point. And we will get into that because
yes,
that's
we
why
will.
I love having you on. Thank you, Michelle. Thank you.
You got it. We'll see you.
That's the great Michelle Tafoya. Go to Spotify or wherever you get your podcast. The Michelle Tafoya podcast is freaking awesome. I download it. I do. I get alerts. I do. I don't even know how to get alerts, but I get alerts. 11 million viewers for Game 1 of the NBA Final Heat Nuggets Thursday. It's down about 7% from the Celtics and the Warriors a year ago. And that makes sense, right? Doesn't that make sense? Hey, let's hear from Spoelstra. He absolutely crushes Ramona Shelburne, who should get crushed. See, you're a media person. You don't know. I don't give a damn if she played at Cal State, kiss my ass. She don't know. She'll never know. She can't know. And Spoelstra, I think, handles this great. Now, all the little ESPN men are coming out and saying, well, great question by Ramona. Oh, okay. Really? Where were you on Sam Ponder, Dave Van Natta? Dave Van Natta is like this, I don't know, ESPN. Yeah, where are you? Where are you? Where are you? I don't know. I'm asking. Let's hear Spoelstra crushing Ramona Shelburne. Just crushed her soul.
Final question on the left.
Hey, Coach. Ramona Shelburne, ESPN. This is probably oversimplifying things, but sometimes when teams play against Jokic, you turn him into a scorer, you turn him into a passer, and he controls the game. He only had 4 assists tonight.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. It's just, that's the untrained eye that says something like that. This guy's an incredible player. Twice in 2 seasons, he's been the best player on this planet. You can't just say, oh, make him a scorer. That's not how they play. They have so many different actions that just get you compromised. We have to focus on what we do. We try to do things the hard way, and he requires you to do many things the hard way. He has our full respect. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, I mean, that's great. Oh, my God. I mean, I got ESPN men and women are defending Ramona, but why won't they defend? Oh, I don't know. Why won't they defend Sam Ponder? Huh. That's coming. Every little ESPN guy is going to be out here go, well, she asked a legitimate question. Yeah? She's an idiot. Because this is why I say she's an idiot. She's a very nice lady, I'm sure. I'm sure she's awesome. I'm sure she's all those things. But I got to tell you, when you try to sling the conversation to a coach in a direction that just is not true, you're an idiot. Because you don't watch the film, and if you did, you don't watch it with the eye that the coach has. And I think personally, in my opinion, I think that Spoelstra absolutely gave her the benefit of the doubt, and you could tell he's just like, geez. All right. Okay. All right, yeah, you're right. I mean, what are you going to do? I got to listen to this stupid stuff. Okay, we'll listen to this idiocy, and I'll say, wait a second. And people, well, they shouldn't have cut her off. Of course they should cut her off. Of course they should. All right, here's Mike Malone. Mike Malone ain't happy, and if Mike Malone ain't happy, damn it, then I'm not happy. Here's Mike Malone on his team, and he's pissed.
Let's talk about effort. I mean, this is the NBA Finals, and we're talking about effort. That's a huge concern of mine. And you guys thought I was just making up some storyline after game 1, but I still didn't play well. We didn't play well. And tonight, that the starting lineup to start the game was 10-2 Miami. Start the third quarter, they scored 11 points in 2 minutes and 10 seconds. And we just got, we had guys out there that were just, whether feeling sorry for themselves for not making shots, or thinking they can just turn it on or off. This is not the preseason. It's not the regular season. It's not round. This is the NBA Finals. And that to me is really, really perplexing, disappointing. And I asked the team, I asked our players, you guys tell me why we lost. And they knew the answer. Miami came in here and outworked us. And we were by far our least disciplined game of these 16 or 17 playoff games, whatever it is now. So many breakdowns. And they exploited every one of those breakdowns and scored. So if we're going to try to go down there and regain control of this series and get home court advantage back, we're going to have to outwork Miami, which we didn't do tonight, and our discipline's going to have to be off the charts.
He's right. I mean, how do you not have effort in game 2? And that is a trained eye. Yeah, the untrained eye, man, that cuts deep. That cuts really, really deep when you do that to a reporter. It's like you have to sit out there, and I'm looking at Bob Kravitz and these other slaps, and I'm going, Jesus, I gotta, I don't know. I gotta talk to these people. So Dave Van Natta, 100% legitimate question. Yeah? Not a peep out of this ESPN guy about, well, I don't know, Sam Ponder. I mean, it's the easiest thing in the world to do, right? I mean, it is the easiest thing to do in the world is, well, a legitimate question. Not a peep from this guy on Sam Ponder, Dave Van Natta. Hey, can we put his name is DVN Jr., and this is one of these reporters, in-depth reporter. Not a word on this guy, not one single word on this guy on his Twitter page about Sam Ponder. I'm telling you, these guys are all cowards. They are all cowards. They are all chicken blank. They got nothing going for them other than being a coward. I told you this would happen. Not a single word. Not a word. Not a word. I told you that. I got to tweet this out. Any word? Dave Van Natta Jr.? How about, hey Dave, how about thoughts on Sam Ponder? Yeah, no, you're not going to have it. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? I mean, they just won't do it. They just won't do it because the men of ESPN are, this week, on-air personalities are going to get cut. I can give you the list. I'll give you the list right now of who to cut. Every basketball analyst. Robbie Hummel is getting out of there. Robbie Hummel is going to NBC. He's smart. Robbie is getting the hell out, and he has to. He must. He has to. He's got to. Because you can't work at ESPN. Well, they don't have Big Ten basketball anymore. So there'll be an announcement fairly soon that Robbie Hummel will be one of the 2 Tuesday guys on NBC, and he should be. He should be. He's good at what he does. He's the perfect guy. He's young. He's good looking. Not going to say much. Not going to be critical, but he's going to analyze really well. Perfect guy. Everybody likes him. Perfect guy. So he's leaving. You got to leave. You can't stay. There's too much stupid. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm just saying. You got to. But anyway, you know none of these idiots are going to, you know what's going to happen. You do. We'll be right back.
So Jake Bird is a reliever for one of the worst teams in baseball, the Colorado Rockies, who are just horrible. And apparently this middle reliever who was called up for called up to the big leagues for the first time this year. So he's toiled and worked his butt off. Decided he was going to pull a little old school, going to date myself, Al Hrabosky, and challenge and act like an idiot on the mound because he got an out. He did that against the Phillies. And in doing so, Bryce Harper took exception and went basically to the Rockies bench and said, let's fight. And I love it. I think it's awesome. I love, I don't know. I just love stuff because in baseball, there's a lot of fake tough guys. There's a lot of fake tough guys who talk the game, and then there's the tough guys are actually the guys that don't talk tough for the most part, like Pedro Martinez or Nolan Ryan. Nolan Ryan never said anything. He just threw 107 and put it in your ribcage if he didn't like you. Pedro would knock you on your ass at the drop of a dime. But I love that. I love guys like that. I love guys that are real and authentic. And Bryce is clearly a leader. And I since the day I met him I think I met him when he was like 12. It seems like his first year in the big leagues. He's always been a guy who's been vocal, but he plays the game and he's good. And the other stuff is the chromey stuff that's the modern day game and what they love and all the things that go with that. But the guy plays hurt, plays as hard as he can. And I think he gives it everything. And I loved it. I thought it was a great thing. I thought it was a good thing for the Phillies who need a little kick in the ass. And then there was he got ejected. Bird got ejected. Rockies won the game 4-0 to avoid a sweep. But none of that stuff matters. That's kind of the thing that you, I don't know about rally around, but it just cements the guys.
That's right. I put it out there. I mean, these ESPN guys, are, they're going to defend Ramona Shelburne, right? Okay. They're going to defend her. Well, why don't you defend Sam Ponder? I mean, it's simple. Why don't you defend Sage Steele? You know the reason why. Because these guys are chicken blank cowards. They're just cowards. A guy named Dave Van Natta Jr. Dave Van Natta Jr. is all into, senior writer, host, EP of Backstory, best-selling author, blah, 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 blah. Big Twitter guy, said the New York Post. 100% legitimate question. All right. Yeah, well, why aren't we defending Sam Ponder? Why aren't we defending Sage Steele? I don't know. Why aren't we? We should. But we don't. Why? Because you're scared to death that you'll lose your little job if you don't side with the company. If you go against the LGBTQ, whatever the hell it is, the trans community at ESPN, you're afraid with these cuts, Dave Van, whatever the hell your name is, you will get freaking fired. We've seen it before. We'll see it again. Why do you think Sage Steele has been censored? Because she has conservative views. It's all a bunch of crap. It's total crap. Stock up, stock down, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. The youngest, the shortest, and the lightest. His name is Jaden Song. 13 years old, Burbank, California. 5'2", weighs 115 pounds. He hits the ball 280 yards. In the first qualifying set on May 15th, he sank a 12-foot putt, gave a Tiger Woods fist bump, and became the youngest player to ever go to the second round of U.S. Open qualifying. That's right. 15th, 18th in L.A. is the U.S. Open. And then guess what he did? You want to know what he did? Then he became the youngest. He could become the youngest. Today's the day. Andy Zhang, 14 when he played in the 12th U.S. Open. Zhang could become the youngest player ever. Kid grew up there. Kid looks like an amazing golfer. I love it. You love it. We need more of it. We need a young phenom in golf. Rory McIlroy took a big old on the bed last night in the in the final round. He took a dump all over me because just sitting there, I put a 20 spot on Rory to win when he was the favorite to win. I'm like, hey, if I'm going to watch and sleep, I might as well put a little something nice on Roy. So I just put 20 on. And then I watched him hit the ball here and there and everywhere. I don't know. All over the place. Anthony Richardson, you stud. You stock up, baby. That's right. AR-5 or AR-15 or AR whatever. Yeah. AR, I'm not sure. The truth of the matter is Anthony Richardson hasn't done anything good or bad. Anthony Richardson has a great highlight video, though, of him dunking, I guess, in intramurals or in open gym, open runs on the University of Florida's campus, and it's glorifying. The dude can get up. He's got hops. I'm sure he can't play a lick, but everybody, he could have started for Florida. No, stop it. Just stop it. He barely started for the football team, so just stop with all of the basketball. Just stop. Stop, and more stop with all that, please. But in our little city here, Anthony Richardson is the man. He's skipping out the practice. There is no doubt. He's working with the second team. But you know what? Why isn't the media crushing Shane Steichen for having Anthony Richardson on the second team? They should be destroying him. When Urban Meyer did that with, ironically enough, Gardner Minshew on the first team, who is taking first team reps with the Colts, by the way. It's ironic. The media crushed him. All the little slappies, all the little Ramona Shelburnes, all the little untrained eyes just crushed him. Because, that's what the media does. They crush those that they don't like. Nobody's crushing Shane Steichen right here for putting this guy in the second team. What? Earlier, no one's crushing Mensa member BS Frank Reich for putting Bryce Young on the second team. Nobody crushed him for saying, I I'm a Mensa member, Frank Reich. I saw something in Bryce Young when he came in as a freshman. Shut up, Frank Reich. Here's your ass. Here's third base. You have a hard time differentiating each. Is that my ass or is that third base? Which one? I don't know. I don't know. Stock up. Think about this. Now, I think they're worth it. Rocky the Mountain Lion. Rocky the Mountain Lion is the Denver Nuggets mascot. All right, I'm going to go to the YouTube chat on this one. Do you know how much Rocky the Mountain Lion makes? Any idea? Any idea? 100,000? No. 200,000? No. 300? No. $400,000? Come on, no. $500,000? No. No. Not $500,000. No. 600,000? Little more. $625,000 is what that guy right there makes. And that is some Benjamins. Bend it for Beckham. Live it like Rocky the Mountain Lion. And I got to tell you, he's worth every dime. Anytime somebody, at least at the Pacers game, has to climb a rope to the top of the stadium every night, I ain't doing it. I don't care how much you pay me. I don't care. This dude is worth it. He goes to kids, he goes everywhere. He goes to hospitals, he goes everywhere. Absolutely everywhere. It's unbelievable. Incredible what these guys do. I don't know that he needs to get $625,000, but I ain't mad at him. And in Colorado, that's a lot of weed, baby, for the mountain lion. I'd get all stoned before I did it and act wacky. Get on the wacky tobacco. Ladies and gentlemen, it is summer. Summertime, summertime, summertime. And I am on two things. One, I am on a testosterone program that has me chasing the lovely Lee Ross around. She's like, Dan, give it a rest. I know. I don't know what to tell you. I'm becoming kind of too active. I'm too active these days. This testosterone program and then this knee thing that I'm on have changed my life. I'm not kidding you, but there it is, ladies and gentlemen. Summertime means double D. I put on my apron, kiss the chef, and away I go. Stock up to grilling season. You know, one of the great things about living in a neighborhood, you're taking a walk, maybe it's 6, I don't know. Here it gets dark so late, it could be as late as 7, 7:30, 8 o'clock, I don't know. But I gotta tell you, grilling season, all right? The smells of grilling season. Somebody's cooking tonight is what I always say. Oh, baby, who's cooking? Stock up to grilling season. I was looking for this is how dumb I am, okay? I was looking for a grill. I got one that has grates, but it also has that flat top like they used to have at Coney King in Gary, Indiana, my favorite hot dog place. So the other day, I'm going to cook up some brats, and what do? I decide, voila, I'm going to put some olive oil on the grill. The brats were the best I've ever made. I tell Lee, Lee, I put olive oil on the grill. She goes, you're an idiot. Everybody puts olive oil on the grill. I go, really? Huh. I'll be dipped in spit. Olive oil on the grill is actually a thing for everybody. I'm not talking about the grates where it gets in there. I'm talking about that flat part, like, whatever you call it. Like the short order cook, like Mel. Yeah, that's right. That's right. All right, stock down. The Indianapolis Star tried this with me years ago. The Indianapolis Star, actually a year ago, found some little kid. I challenged him. I'll give you $5,000 if you can give me the name of the kid that they alleged I called a meth head. I never called a kid a meth head. I didn't know anybody on Scottsburg team. I didn't know one person except my buddy Paul and 3 other guys down there. That's all I knew. I just use an analogy. Yeah, it's a big meth place. Scottsburg and Austin, big meth over there, okay? Particularly Austin, I don't know about Scottsburg. But anyway, they fired a young coach. It COVID, so I went off, said I was going to beat up all the school board members. Like, I went off. The Indy Star picked it up. Some lady named Dana Bembile, something, I don't even know her name. She picks it up. She writes, Doyle writes, the whole crowd goes nuts. I say, look, I'll give you $5,000 if you can come up with the name of the kid that I called A meth head, because they kept saying I called a kid a meth head. I didn't call a kid a meth head. Anyway, so some kid from Indiana Wesleyan tries to shake me down. Well, everybody in my community thought I was the meth head. Well, then you're an idiot. With all due respect to some college kid, you're an idiot. If everybody in your community thinks you were the meth head, then they got a reason to think you're a meth head. And the text came in. The text came in from people to me, Dan, it would be interesting to see what would happen. Why is this kid thinking he's the meth head? You could have committed murder. Indiana, Gary, Indiana, murder capital of the United States. I played at Gary Andrean High School, it was called then. If they said there's a murderer on Andrean's basketball team, not one person would have said it was me, because everybody knew me. Everybody knew it wasn't going to be me. It could have been somebody else, but it wasn't going to be me. Period. So they tried to shake me down for $4,000. This kid's like, well, I was the kid. No, you weren't. I never said your name, never heard of you. His daddy chimes in, the superintendent. This was hard on our family. Well, you raised a kid that people in your community think was a meth head. My dad raised a person that people thought in the community was the hardest working kid they ever saw at Andrean High School, and the first guy to commit to a Division I basketball scholarship from Andrean High School. I mean, there's a difference. The superintendent, a guy named Slayton, you raise a kid that people in the community think might be the meth head, that's a problem. You raise a kid in the community like Tom Dakich did that people think is the greatest guy. They tried to shake me down. I told them, kiss my ass. My buddy Nigel of Hammer Nigel on the air is like, why are these people trying to shake you down? I digress. So we fast forward. Sorry about the long story. But anyway, so now here goes this lady, JEMELE Hill. She's trying to shake down Spotify. Why don't you give a black podcaster $100 million like you gave Joe Rogan? You get what you're worth, lady. And there ain't anybody, black, white, green, purple, orange, or looks like this, that's worth $100 million more than Joe Rogan. Certainly not you. You are horrible on everything you've been on. Nobody pays attention to you. Your book didn't sell. All you got is bitching about white people, and that's going on deaf ears now. So you tried to shake Spotify down like the Indy Star tried to shake me down. And it never works. Shakedowns don't work. So now JEMELE Hill will be exiting Spotify. Good for us. I don't know if it's good or bad for her. I have no idea. I'm sure it's race related. Other than, hey, give me. How about you become really good? How about you expand? And how about you become somebody that Spotify wants to give $100 million to? Boom! I could have had a V8. That can't be. Stock down JEMELE Hill, stock down Netflix, although I understand it, cracking down on shared accounts. I kind of understand. Look, I'm sitting in my house. I'm minding my own business. I'm watching Netflix. I get the call. Hey, Dad, what's that password again? I get it. I do. I get it. I'm not happy about it, but I get it. You shouldn't really be able to share passwords. I get it. Totally, completely, 1,000%, all unadulterated. I get it, but I don't like it. I don't like it. James Comey is an idiot. Stock down to him. James Comey, a vocal critic of Donald Trump, was asked in an interview about his thoughts on the presidential election. It has to be Joe Biden. He said in response to a question by former Biden aide Jen Psaki, and I'm glad he's willing to serve. He ain't willing to serve. He's willing to make money, you idiot. It has to be someone committed to the rule of law, committed to the values of this country. And I'm not talking about policy. People disagree with policy. There are things about those disagreements that all of us should think about the same way. The president must be someone who abides by the law and our Constitution. There's no one else but Joe Biden. Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, okay. See, what you're going to see out of white guy is when asked if you would ever vote for a Republican, they're all going to say Tim Scott because it gives them coverage. You watch. Mark my words. Look, I got to tell you, if you vote for Joe Biden, you're an idiot. You're an idiot. If you think Joe Biden should be the president, you're an idiot. You're just an idiot. Stock down Sarah Spain. Look, I don't care even a little bit about Sarah Spain. You know, she's mad. She's mad at me. We had an exchange, one of the exchanges where she said, well, you said I sold my boobs. I didn't say you sold your boobs for a job. I said it wasn't talent that got you a job. And good for you, Sarah, for not understanding or not believing that diversity factored in. Sarah Spain was the cut-in lady, meaning she gave the scores on WNVP and she parlayed that into a national show at night on ESPN. Well, I got to tell you, I was in a lot of those meetings. I got offered a lot of those jobs, and diversity was the biggest factor in hiring. I'm sorry. If that makes you mad, it makes you mad. And no, I did not say you sold your boobs to get a job. I said you sold something on the internet. It was either your boobs or yourself, and of course you put on the internet, I want to F Steve Bartman. Good for you. Now you are the hall monitor of all of us on Twitter and ESPN, and in doing so, you support not your colleague, Sam Ponder, but the biggest dumbass in media, Nancy Armour, in her hit piece on her. So stock down, and I really don't care enough about Sarah Spain, her opinions. I listened to her show one time, and she and Cassidy Hubbard, I think it was, were talking about running their fingers through, I think it was Dan Ditkov's hair, and I'm like, yeah, these people are idiots. They're hypocrites. I want nothing to do with them. Adios. Kim Jong-un. Kim Jong-un. Kim Jong-un got fat. Stock down, biggin. Hey, stock down. Kim Jong-un, I mean, there's more to Kim Jong-un than whether or not he's fat or not. Don't get me wrong. I understand. Please. Stop, okay? But he is getting big. He is getting big, and he's got a new border wall, which, hey, look, you want to put a border wall? Put a border wall. The greatest parody of King Jong-un, or whatever this idiot's name is done on 30 Rock. It is one of the funniest things ever. So Google yourself 30 Rock, Kim Jong-un, and they have him in there. And I am the greatest athlete of all time. I scored 175 points in the game. It is the funny. Now, it's humor, people. Dakich, you just did an imitation that was racist. No, I was doing the show. It's really funny. Dakich, once again, you just did an imitation that was making fun of us Southern people. Yeah, I did. I love imitations. I do. I love imitations. Look at him. Look at this crazy man. Hey, Donald Trump, I'm going to give you a piece of advice. I'm here for you, okay? I want you to be president. Your policies are great. But why would you possibly praise Kim Jong-un? Why? Why? Why would you do that? I don't get it. You're a smart man. But why you would praise this dictator who has murdered thousands, if not millions of people, I will never understand. Period. But that is, ladies and gentlemen, the world that we live in. Donald Trump, literally, I think people are so tired of what is going on that they would basically, if it were done fairly, if the Republicans can figure out how to cheat as good as the Democrats and harvest and get no IDs and all this crap, literally hand the election to you. But you're going to continue to do stupid things, and I am not here for it. I think you're being an idiot. Don't ever, ever, ever praise a person that is involved in murdering so many people. Just don't do it. Don't. Stupid. Ignorant. It's ignorant. That's what it is. It's just ignorant by a man who is not ignorant. Donald Trump is not an ignorant man, but praising Kim Jong-un is stupid. Josh McDaniels says he has no anxiety over his quarterback, whatever. Yeah, I don't care. Jimmy Garoppolo is hurt. So, does anybody right now care about the Las Vegas Raiders? Is there a soul that cares about them? They were interesting when Gruden was doing all kind of stupid stuff. But they haven't been interesting since. Since Gruden's been gone, they have not been interesting. Derek Carr, uninteresting. Jimmy G would be interesting. If Jimmy G could get hot, start dating porn stars, and be shown all around Vegas, that would be awesome. That would be my kind of thing. Ed Oliver gets a 4-year, $68 million extension, and I don't care. All right, let's go. You guys ready to rock and roll? I need some wokey dopies right now. Give me some, baby. Give it to me, baby. Give it to me, baby. Give it to me, baby. Give me that stuff, that funk, that sweet, that funkish stuff. Give it to me. My God, is this right? My God, is this beautiful. And wokeness is the sight that keeps on giving. It never disappoints. And wokeness. It never disappoints. 18, you can't get some smokes. You can't get a tattoo. You can just barely drive at 16. But hey, Mom, I like playing linebacker. Well, you're a girl. I know, but I think I'm a boy. Oh, okay. Let's go ahead and get you to the gender affirmation clinic and get you started to change your deal. Little kids are still putting their fingers in their nose and eating it. Little kids like trucks. Little kids like whatever is shiny. There's a great Andy Griffith. Look him up. Andy Griffith explains little kids. I tweeted it out the other day. Little kids will go, whatever is shiny. Hell, I do it at 60. My wife and I will be talking and I'll go, ooh, shiny. Something will be over there. I got to tell you, it happened a lot at St. Simon Fest because I got to tell you, I went to St. Simon Fest and there were some beautiful women. I had to put my shades on. 60 years old, but I ain't dead. I mean, what are we talking about here? Anyway, I digress. Give me the next one. What do you got? I'm proud to be black. I'm proud to be Asian. I'm proud to be Latin. I'm proud to be white. White people. White people. Look, isn't it amazing? Like if I said right now, I'm proud to be white, I'd be called a racist. No, it's amazing. I think we're getting beyond this. I do. I think we're getting beyond just allowing the dumbest among us. Like whatever happened to the uncomfortable conversations? I said this the other day. Whatever happened? We got the uncomfortable conversations. The guy on, look, again, Acho, uncomfortable conversations with a black man. Yeah? Whatever happened to those? Hey, you know what? Whatever I would say, no, you're racist. That's the uncomfortable conversation. Well, damn, that didn't go well. Well, I think the country's, no, you don't understand, you're racist. Oh, okay. Back in my father's bar, a lot of African Americans, man, they dressed up, they had money, they came into my no, you don't understand, you're racist. Oh, okay. There's your uncomfortable conversation. That's the route that our world is in right now. No, you're racist. No, you're phobic. No, you're a bigot. No. No, you can't be. You're a racist. You're bigoted. Oh, okay. All right. Oh, well, I didn't know. I didn't know. But anyway, long story short, that is the world that we live in right now. If you do not go along the company line, now I'm going to say this, I am not going along the company line. I refuse to go along the company line. The company line sucks, and anybody calling me a racist can kiss my backside. Kiss my backside. I don't care. Just because I don't fall in line with you doesn't mean that I am an ist, doesn't mean that I'm a bigot, and I will stand with Sandponder, and I will stand with Sage Steele. Just because you are not aligned with the liberals does not mean you should be censored by ESPN. I got people saying, Dan, did you just break news on Robbie Hummel? Yeah, it's not that big. It's yes. Robbie Hummel's going to go to NBC, assuming it all gets worked out, and he should. He's got to. You got to go. You got to go. Well, I can't believe you're putting it out there. Well, then don't believe it. What do you want me to tell you? Is this like Zach Edey is transferring? Yes, that's exactly what it's like. It is exactly like that. It is exactly like that. Zach Edey transferring is exactly like this. So believe it, don't believe it, I do not care. I'm just telling you, you got to get out of there. Particularly in college basketball, it is the dumping site for diversity. They got guys doing ESPN college basketball that wouldn't know if a basketball is blown up or stuffed. But hey, it covers their ass. Robbie, good for you. I'm happy for him. NBC is the new home of Big Ten basketball, and it's terrific. It is. And on Tuesday nights, you'll see Robbie. Now, the problem is it's going to be, I believe most of it is going to be on the Peacock channel, which, hey, look, Big Ten fans will find it. Big Ten fans will find it. I got a guy saying, Dan, I'm offended by you saying all these women are just taking their clothes off. They have beautiful bodies and they have the right to make money on it. They are. They do. Good for Angel Reese. Good for the little Cavender twins. Good for Olivia Dunn. Take your clothes. My wife said it. My wife said way back, this will be, in fact, if my wife would do it now, we'd make a lot of money. I'm trying to get her to do a swimsuit thing. Former Syracuse coach in a bikini is unfreaking believable. I'm serious. But all these girls take their clothes off. All these little girls, they take their clothes off. They do their, get their money, blah, 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 blah. Caitlin Clark, what does she do? She shows up at an Iowa Cubs game. People have been waiting 11 hours. She was supposed to be there a half hour. She waited till everybody was greeted, got an autograph, got satisfied. That is big time. Taking your clothes off and then saying, well, you know, I've had such a hard life. Yeah, okay, right. Or trying to be a gangster like that idiot from LSU, not the Angel Reese girl, the other one, and being in some idiotic, vulgar-ass rap video about, you know, the buildings coming down on 9/11. You're just stupid. Just an idiot. So it's good to see Caitlin Clark not an idiot. You know, the Cavender twins couldn't get out of college sports quick enough, take off their clothes and go do whatever they're going to do. And, of course, they're going to be victims at some point. They already are. Well, we have this terrible mental health. Okay, well, okay. I'm not saying it, you know, I feel bad for you. But, man, did Lee Ross predict it. Lee Ross predicted it so freaking right. Could not have predicted it better. You watch, the biggest earners are going to be little girls that take their clothes off. And that's exactly what the NIL is. No Fun League, it says he's about to sell his junk to get some side cash. Hey, you got to do what you got to do, pal. I ain't mad at you. Agree with me or else, you racist, sexist, homophobic. That's the primal scream of a modern generation. Man, you guys showed out today. Come back tomorrow, will you? Stay with us. Let's make this show massive. McAfee's leaving YouTube and he's going to ESPN. Let's replace him as the biggest show on YouTube. We give you good stuff. Seriously, I want you to think about this. Is there any other show in America, anywhere, that talks like we talk, that informs like we inform, that breaks it down like we break it down, and is unafraid like we are unafraid? Is there anyone? And if there is, you name it. And we don't swear much. For cheap laugh, we don't do it. There isn't. This is arguably the greatest show you're ever going to watch. We've developed this show now with our team of Dylan and Nick and Ryan, Corey and Aaron. Aaron's unbelievable. And everybody involved. And nobody today farted in the little booth. How about that? I forget who replaced Ryan today in our booth with Dylan, but nobody gassed up that booth. That's improvement. That is getting better. Thank you, Colin, for not crapping all over Dylan. Thank you. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Hope you have a great, great evening. It's a beautiful day here. Get out, roll around in the grass, and have a good day. Oh, I need golfers desperately. I don't want to have to cancel our golf outing, but I need golfers. Go to dandakich.com and sign up. I need golfers. See you.